Coming from a small town, a very small population, there's nothing else to do but think big. Plymouth, Florida, an unincorporated community located in Orange County, northwest of Apopka, Florida, home of the nursery growers, dirt roads, and landfills. But there is something about this small town, you will find some amazing talent. Raised on the same street as Hall of Famer Warren Sapp and NFL player Jay Howard, this young man overcame all adversity to become a record-breaking graduate at one of college football's most prestigious schools, the University of Michigan. We had a chance to sit with his family, friends, and high school coach to get a never-before-seen look at the humble beginning of Plymouth's own Jeremy Gallen.
She's been living in Plymouth all her life. I've been in Plymouth for 22 years, 23 years.
Yeah, 23 years.
23 years. Actually longer than that.
Longer than that, really, because
I'm gonna say 26 years.
Yeah, I met when I was 18.
She was 19. She was 19 when
18.
She was 19.
18, I got pregnant when I was 19, and I had Crystal when I was 20.
Actually, she met me when she was 16.
Okay.
Because she was playing softball with the girls' softball team, and I met her out in Eustis, and her sister cussed me out because me being 4 years older than her, I was hitting at her, and her sister didn't like it. But Plymouth was quiet. Well, when I moved in, it was a quiet town. And it's still quiet, but you know, it ain't really much to do in Plymouth but bring the kids up to the park, let them play on the park, and keep them doing something besides running the street, standing on these corners.
When they would start up with flag, having kids with flag football, and I did the cheerleaders up there.
Pick up basketball.
Yeah, the Magic basketball on P Mountain. Right. They did that, and also 6th Street flag football, and I was a cheerleader coach, basically. Yeah, I gave back to the community.
No, it's not. As long as you stick with them and stay behind them and pay attention to what they're doing,
motivate them.
Then Plymouth is a nice town to raise children in. If I had to do it all over again, yes, I would.
We did. More his dad than the mom. His dad was practice every day. Literally came to practice every day when those guys were playing. And he had a lawn chair and he had a certain hat he wore. And he sat outside the gate and watched practice every day. And
oh yeah, practice. I didn't miss now practice. That's how I knew what was going on with them. They couldn't come home and tell me, well, this is why I ain't playing in the game. No, I know why you ain't playing in the game. I was there. But none of them never missed the game neither, so. And during the games, if nobody hit nobody else, Jeremy was here, Jeremy Millerfield, his mama. Well, I did. I thought Coach D was a pretty good individual. That you know, I got along with him because I understood where he was coming from, what he was trying to. Because I watched what he did with Chris, and I understood what he did with Chris and the other players. That only thing he wanted was something better for them in life. And so far, you know, with Jeremy, he humbled Jeremy quite a bit. Because Jeremy was a good kid, all the time was a good kid, but just still Jeremy had that way, you know, if he didn't want to do something, he wouldn't do it, but Coach D had a way of humbling him to a way, okay, and it worked out for him, and that's why he's so humble today. Besides me and his parent, me and his mother instilled that in him, but he just a humble kid, the way Darlington brought him up through football.
Yeah, Doctor had that one heart.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can honestly say he was never anything except a supportive parent. Never said one questioning word about the way their sons were being used or anything about our program. He was always in our corner and believed in what we did. So it was great to have those guys around. And, you know, I know that all the games they'd be dressed up in all their Jeremy gear, and it was really neat. And I know they're very proud of him. And not only for his football success, but for graduating from Michigan. I think that's awesome. So, great family, you know, and living in a tough place, you know, in Plymouth. It's tough. You know, it's not a wealthy area, and to raise good sons in there is tough, but they've done a great job of it. I know they're really proud of Jeremy and the other ones.
almost on a daily basis.
I miss my baby.
Talk to him on the phone, like we'll tango him and
My knee baby.
Jeremy was quiet around the coaches, but he was really funny around his teammates. He was very good at doing impersonations, I was told. In the locker room, he'd have everyone cracking up with the way he could mimic coaches or other players or other people. So he was one of those sneaky funny guys that was kind of quiet to your face, but then behind your back, he was kind of like the team clown.
he quiet till you get him wrong.
Yeah. He quiet and keep you laughing. That was my clown.
That was basically, he was a clown. He come by, honestly.
He was a kid, had the whole house laughing.
Yeah. When you do see him getting to do the Coston impersonation.
Well, he was a very special athlete. Yeah, I first got him as a ninth grader, and he was really small, probably 140 pounds. And I remember thinking he could really make people miss and do some things. He had some natural football ability.
He was going to break records no matter where he went. Just like at a Poplar High School. He did a lot of things at Poplar High School that no one single player did.
Once you give him that chance,
And
that's it. That's it.
Well,
He loved a challenge.
I enjoyed the fact that when he broke out, I enjoyed them all. You know, it was amazing that a little kid of his size and stature and everybody was talking about how small he was to break all them big time records. You know, that was amazing.
But really what he told me, he said, Mom, you know, the guys be coming up and say, look how small you is. I just laugh at him like, okay, yeah, right, you'll see me later.
And I coached his brother Chris the first time I was here, and so I knew about his family. And so as a sophomore, his first year playing for me on the varsity, he was a good player. You know, I remember against Eastridge, you know, we hadn't beaten them in a while. It was my first year back from Georgia, and Apopka hadn't beaten Eastridge, and they were winning the district title. And I believe we beat them 17-14, and Jeremy scored all the touchdowns, and he was a pretty special guy as a sophomore. So he had a good year, and he did some things as a sophomore that were pretty impressive. You know, some runs, some catches, and made some kick returns, obviously. But his junior year is when he really kind of exploded on the scene. You know, we went to the single wing offense, which is like 100 years old, and we put him at tailback, which is the position that runs and throws the ball in the single wing. And he ended up throwing for over 1,000 yards and rushed for almost 2,000. And that's when he kind of jumped on the scene as a recruited type player. Wasn't overly big, was about 5'9", 165 maybe. We thought 5'9", now they're measuring him at shorter. But for us, he was 5'9", so. But, yeah, he was really a talented guy and definitely someone that on Friday night, you know, could make things happen. And his junior year, he led us to the state semifinals. And then his senior year, we went to the state quarterfinals. So we had some success with him playing, and he was just a really good player. And he received a lot of accolades. I don't remember what they were, but he was an all-state player, obviously. And then, you know, committed to Michigan. And I think what they've liked the most about him is his toughness and his work ethic. So hopefully we have something to do with that, you know, from his background here. But he was fun to coach and was a football smart guy, and just really, you know, always kept in touch with us too. You
know. No, for this reason here. His brothers them used to, you asked, get a chance to ask his brothers and this later on. His brothers them used to take him and bring him up on the park, and he would play with the bigger kids. In the sandlot. And so he was always used to playing with bigger kids. Mm-hmm. And even when he played with the Genesee League, if it was a weight unlimited, it was bigger kids, and he was a little thing on the field, and he ain't had no problem about getting to mixing it up with them. Yeah. Basically, Joe and Chris were very competitive, and Bradley and Jeremy was competitive. So Bradley played on defense, and Jeremy played offense. So they kind of like equal out each other. But yeah, they was competitive, all of them.
Always trying to outcompete him. For real, like, bro always been a competitor. Whether we was playing the regular basketball one-on-one or So half of the time he was playing against me and my friend CJ, and somehow he ended up beating us. Like he always competitive. So with me growing up with it, it was like, okay, he doing this, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna try to go hard, just like either that or try to get there with him. If not before him.
I taught all my boys, especially German Bradley, the bigger they is, the harder they fall. If they hit hard, you hit harder.
Yeah.
I taught them that ever since they was in part one coming up. That's right. If they hit hard, you hit harder.
In the door, and so when you put the ball in Jeremy's hands, it doesn't matter how small he is, it's hard to tackle him. So obviously we knew that he was going to be carrying the ball and catching it and throwing it, and so it wasn't hard to find a place for him. He could probably play about any position on the field.
He talked with us about it, but it was his decision. I told him, I said, well, this is your 4 years. Wherever you're going to be at for 4 years, that'll be your decision to make it. That's where you want to be, fine. But I wanted them to go to school out of state, because it less chance on peers coming and visiting him too much and take him from being focused on what he was trying to do. Every school in the country. Every school in the country. Florida State sent him one letter. Shame on him. Miami came there and watched him for a little bit, and they left too soon. And then Rich Rodriguez came down. Rich Rodriguez recruiter came down and stayed there about 8, 9 o'clock that night.
Jeremy he had the talent to be heavily recruited, but when colleges came in and they looked at his transcript and his grades and his test scores, they scratched him off the list. And they said, he won't qualify, he'll be a junior college guy. And, Jeremy didn't really feel comfortable in school all the time. He wasn't overly successful at it. And then, like a lot of guys, his defense mechanism when he wasn't successful at something was to not give a very good effort at it. And Michigan is one of the schools that offered him a scholarship, and once he committed to them, it's like the light came on and they worked with him hand in hand to make sure he did everything he could to qualify. He retook classes, he took classes online, he took the SAT and the ACT over and over again, and so it took him a full year of nothing but grinding academically to get qualified, and to everyone's surprise, he got qualified in the spring or the summer before he went to Michigan. It was in July. And so many teachers here, and especially Pam Catron, our guidance counselor, just really worked with him to make sure that he was doing the right stuff, the right classes, that he was motivated. And, Jeremy did the work, but so many people really, were in his corner trying to help him. And he made it. And to make it, but then to go to Michigan and make it, that's a whole different level of success. And so, again, whether he gets to play in the NFL or not, he's successful in our eyes, because he went from a very bad student who didn't like it to going off and getting a college degree from a very prestigious university. So that's a success story right there.
Michigan came down and told him everything that he needed to hear.
Yeah, which was?
He told him everything he needed to hear to get him.
All the rest of it was talking about football, but Michigan came.
Michigan talked about education.
I don't think so. You'd have to ask him that, why he chose Michigan. I think the offense at the time was probably going to fit in with Coach Rodriguez, and him and Coach Rod Smith, they recruited him real hard and made sure that, he was going to get qualified, by, giving him direction in how you can retake these courses, how you can do your grades better, that kind of thing. So that was, they recruited him good, and then once they got him committed, they didn't just drop off and say, okay, he's ours. I mean, they were, they did everything they could legally to be here and to be in contact with him and make sure that he was doing the steps he could to get into Michigan. Because when he committed, he was not anywhere close to being qualified. It was like you say a long shot. It was like a three-quarter court shot in the gym with the lights out. That's how far the shot was. That's cool. Yeah, but he made it.
My hat goes off to him. That's something that somebody never be take from him.
That's right.
He's an official Michigan alumni.
I don't look that far ahead with guys. I just hope they get into college, if that's what they want to do. If you can go off in college football and be successful, that's awesome. And to get a degree. And, our thing here has always been about we want to build men. So hopefully we had a hand in Jeremy becoming a better man. And that's more important to me than the football end of it. It's even more important than the student end of it. But I was just hopeful that he'd be a good college player because he wasn't very big. And, you're going to a place in Michigan that recruits nationally. There's going to be a lot of good players there, so he's going to have to rise to the top. Ann Arbor, Michigan's not like Plymouth, Florida. And so for him to go up there and acclimate himself not only to the weather but to the culture and to the academics and to everything that goes into going away from home, that's a tough deal. And he did it. And so never really thought about the NFL. It's not like I thought, he won't make the NFL. I just didn't even think about it, and once he became a junior and was their leading receiver, then there started to be some talk about it, and again, I hope it happens. I know this is that if he gets on an NFL team, he'll make that team better because of the way he goes about his business, about his personality, about his character, about his toughness. He's a very unselfish player, so I think he'll make a team, and I think he'll do very well, and I don't think it's about being a superstar. If you're in the NFL, you're in the NFL. And I think that Jeremy would rather go in the NFL and win games than to be on a poor team and be the superstar or whatever. So, I just hope he gets to go somewhere and win at a high level.
Anxious.
Butterflies.
Basically anxious. Just because we've been hearing a lot of stuff. So it's interesting.
It doesn't matter. Whatever you want, wherever you want.
Wherever he get drafted, we wasn't to travel on Sundays. We jump on a plane on a Friday night and
Be like my baby.
I mean, the way I feel about where he from, he gave everybody inspiration and hope, coming from a small town, middle of nowhere, you get recognition, so by him making it, that gave every little kid around here hope and inspiration that they can make it. You dream big, think big, you can make it big.
And my little cousin Jeremy just was one of them ones that just took it and ran with it, you know what I'm saying? He always had in his mind that he was gonna make it, so I just thank God, we thank God, and he thank God.
Pay our respects to Warren Sapp. Thanks for making it and help putting the city on the map. And we gonna finish it off.
And thanks to my cousin Jeremy Galley, representing Plymouth, Florida. This is where he really from. This is where we play football at, right here in the dirt roads, clay roads.
Yes, sir.
You already know,
Plenty
much talent. And there's plenty more to come.
He stayed
Plenty more to come. Keep your eyes open.
Humble. He a humble guy.
Listening now.
He did that.
Just came from one of his all-stars.
We pretty much we happy for him and everything he accomplished and everything he going through for himself. He did for himself. He growed up. He a real man now. So.
We don't have many, Sapp was before my time. Merriweather plays in the NFL with the Redskins, and he comes back probably once a year, sees a game and hangs around. He bought our state championship rings last year. Warren Sapp bought them when Brandon played, and so then when we won state in 2012, Brandon brought the rings for everybody, so that was kind of neat. So maybe someday Jeremy could buy some rings. But the only other player we have in the NFL is Kyle Wilbur, and he graduated in 2007. He plays with the Cowboys, and so we don't really see him that much. He's very quiet, and we'd like to see him more. When he comes home, hopefully he'll come see us. But we've only got 2 players in the NFL. It's not like there's a pipeline or anything. It's tough to get in the NFL. It's tough to get to college, period. So to go to that next level is very few and far between.
He's a good guy. He's a card. He's all right. Yeah, I hate to say I like him better than I did Rich Rodriguez. Rich Rodriguez, he was comical, but Brett Hope, he's all right.
I met him at practice when Jeremy was a junior. We went out to the bowl practice, and I took my sons, And I met Coach Hope there, and he was actually in here last week recruiting, and so I got to talk to him again. But again, Coach Hope wasn't there when Jeremy committed. It was Coach Rich Rodriguez. And so Jeremy committed to a different staff, and after a year and a half, they got fired. And that's when I thought Jeremy was going to want to transfer because didn't fit that system as much. Was a redshirt freshman, had gained some weight. His receiver coach said he was fat. And so for Jeremy to kind of go through that transition of coaches is even better. So.
And Jim already was on the starting lineup, but he broke the starting lineup, and actually he got more playing time under Brady Hope than Rich Rodriguez.
Well, when I was up there for a month, he came home, and basically what he said, the difference was they didn't even look at his highlight, but when the other coach came, he looked at it. And he like, what would these guys do?
When Al Gorgeous came there, he looked at it.
He like, what would these guys was doing? I mean, this guy is awesome.
Then he started implementing Jerry Moore on the offensive thing beside the punt return, the kickoff return.
I don't know about moments. I remember one in 2008, his senior year. He sprained his ankle really bad in the regular season, and we had a rivalry going with Eastridge. Okay, they had won the district before I got back from Georgia, and since we came back, we hadn't lost to Eastridge in 2006 or 2007, and Jeremy was a major part of both those wins. And so they knew about Jeremy Gowan. They didn't like Jeremy Gowan because Jeremy Gowan was basically the guy that was beating them. And in 2008, we played in the regular season, and Jeremy had a sprained ankle. So he barely played. I mean, I played him a little bit in the first quarter. He could barely run. So we took him out, and we ended up losing the game 21-13. So they won the district title. Well, we won the rest of our games, and they did too. And so we both won our first round playoff game. So we're going to play Eastridge again in the second round. And Jeremy was going to be healthy to play. And the word out of Eastridge was, well, one guy is not going to make that big a difference. We're going to beat him even with Jeremy Gowan. And I'm just kind of thinking, okay, I see how y'all think. Well, that night Jeremy rushed for 275 yards, had 4 touchdowns, and he threw for 2 touchdowns. He accounted for 6 touchdowns. The score of the game was 41-34. We won. So he was in on every single touchdown, either running it or throwing it, and we won the game by 7 points. So I wanted to ask Eastridge, well, do you think he made a difference? And so he was that kind of a player. He could take over the game with what he did. And, like I said, when I think of Jeremy, I'm going to think of a lot of good playoff wins that he was a part of. And, just the fact that now he's gone off to the next level and he's been as successful in college as he was here. And that's hard to do, because he was really a good player here, but as you've seen, he's been a great player for Michigan.
Okay, now this jersey here, this is, if you went to a pop club, you would see this on the wall inside the locker room, the old locker room. This is the Eagle, altar. This is the Super Daughter picture here. And this for him was that famous catch that he caught against that #1 cornerback of Notre Dame had at the time. So he did what he had to do in that game. And this is basically is a picture, and then he did the throwback jerseys. And he did what he had to do in that game there against Notre Dame. So he had some good games against Notre Dame, and actually the best games was against Notre Dame. It was just because of the fact that one of the teammates that was on Notre Dame played in high school with him, and he had the nerve to call him before the game. And so Jeremy just told me, okay, I'll see you out on the field. So that's what these pictures here is about. Now this right here was Athlete of the Year. He got this as a junior. And he was 2 votes from being Mr. Football that same year.
What that was their name?
So that's what this here jersey is.
Yeah, jersey is.
So he was two votes from being Mr. Football. I think E.J. Manuel that got it that year. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, this was a Pop Warner jersey, and he wreaked havoc with this Pop Warner jersey right here. I mean, he had a field day with it. He was a terror with this jersey here. And everybody knew about this one right here. So a lot of people hated to see this number 5 come to their stadium. So this here was the jersey that Dawson first put him on, but Dawson had to get him another one because it was too big for him, and the people were catching him by the tail end of the jersey. And Dawson put him one that fit him, they couldn't catch him no more. Then we got all these yards. And this was the first jersey that Michigan gave him, which was number 3. And he wanted his number 5, but they wouldn't. Somebody else had his number 5, so they gave him this but he didn't want this jersey, so they stuck him with this different right here, which is number 10, and he was happy with this man. But Jeremy said this very thing. He said the jersey don't make the man make the jersey. So, but when they put this number 21 on it, the man made the jersey.
Again, when I first got a hold of Jeremy, he was a pretty immature boy. And he grew, his sophomore and junior year, both as a player, but as a man. But his senior year is when he really kicked it in academically and got himself qualified and had another great year in football. But the thing that I'm so proud of Jeremy about is not only he's going to get a degree from the University of Michigan, that's the number one thing. To come from Plymouth, Florida, and to go off and do that is amazing. But Jeremy's not that 5-star recruit that's 6'3", 220 pounds, and he's recruited by everybody, and he goes in, and it's all easy for him. It wasn't easy. It was hard in high school for him to get qualified. It was hard when he was a redshirt freshman. When the coaching staff changed, it was hard. He had to impress a new staff. Okay, he goes in there in a position he'd never played before. He was a tailback here and a quarterback type player. And he goes up there and he's going to get drafted as a receiver. So a lot of guys have it easy all the way up. Jeremy didn't have it easy. Jeremy had to fight. He had to fight his way out of Plymouth. He had to fight his way out of Apopka High School academically. He had to fight for a job at Michigan, had to fight to get a degree, and set records and became a great player. And so do I have any doubt that he's going to fight at training camp next year to get a job in the NFL? No doubt at all. And I believe he'll be on a roster next year and for many falls to come. But I'm so proud of him because it didn't come easy. So many of us, you struggle, but you see guys that have it easy and all, and Jeremy didn't have it easy. So I'm proud of him for that. And what I say to Jeremy would be, brother, I'm proud of you. Be humble. Have a good name. I love you. Keep making us proud in Apopka.